All of our curtains were also hand sewn by my mom and Mike's mom.
I have a wooden box full of all the receipts that I'm kind of afraid to open and look through. I've seen French cleats in like garages and storage areas, but never really seen it in a bus.
I was a teacher at brick and mortar, and I was like, how can I support myself on the road?
Hey, we're Mike and Mandy, and this is our bus, Irwin. Come on inside, take a look.
Well, welcome to our kitchen. We have a very nice, pretty large kitchen for such a small space, and we're really proud of it. So we specifically did this design. It's kind of like the L shape because we wanted to separate our kitchen and living room from our living space, or like our bedroom space. And also, we both work remote, so I have to be on Zoom at the same time he does, so it kind of separates that two working spaces. So we specifically designed this kitchen with that in mind, of like kind of separating those two spaces. We went with the butcher block for our countertop. We really like the look of it. It holds up really well. We did not build our cabinets, but we customized them to what like our needs are. We also did custom toe kicks under all of our cabinets, which is huge for storage. We also have a pull out for all our pots and pans. We went with a 3-burner Furrion stove, which we love. We wanted to make sure we had an oven and a stove, so we use this multiple times a day. We went with a small sink, and it's cute. We love it. It works great for the space, but that would be one thing I would do differently, is get a bigger sink. We love our little faucet. It detaches if we need to. One of our favorite aspects of the kitchen is our backsplash here. We just kind of fell in love with the color, and we thought it was unique, and then it kind of emulates the color of the bus outside. So we really like that. And then this back here is my pride and joy. It just kind of brings a pop of color. And then we also added this for some extra storage. We are very fortunate that we have a pretty big size refrigerator for our space. It is 7 cubic feet. We have it boxed in here and secured to the ground, so this thing is not going anywhere. And we also boxed it in so we just have extra storage up here, because you can never have enough storage in a small space. It just runs off of AC, and it doesn't take too much power, so we were happy with that. The last piece over here, we just wanted some extra counter space, so we built like this extra counter space over here. We also have some extra storage with drawers. Our spices are over here, and our trash can is under here. We just wanted this extra piece over here to complete the kitchen. Welcome to the living room. So this is one of our favorite spots. We built this with having company in mind. So we wanted people to come in and be able to sit around the table and just feel like a community, and we could play cards and all that kind of stuff. So we have our like L-shaped couch. So we built this because we both wanted to be able to sit in it and like put our legs out and relax and have a ton of space on here. These cushions we just bought offline, but my mom, bless her heart, sewed these, and she had never sewn cushions before. So this was hand sewn by her, which was very special. And she did an awesome job. We knocked it out in like 2 days. And also, as we're at talking about custom made, all of our curtains were also hand sewn by my mom and Mike's mom. So they have room darkening fabric on either side and insole bright in the middle. So that was a labor of love. Those two pieces are really special to us, and we really, really appreciate it. Some aspects about our couch: it does pull out, and it can be made into between a twin and a full size bed. It also lifts up for storage on all 3 of these. We use it for stuff that we don't really use on the regular. Phineas, our 13-and-a-half-year-old dog, all of his extra toys and stuff is over there. So it's a really nice to have extra storage. Speaking of Phineas, our little pride and joy, we have this area for him over here. His dog treats, he's old man, so we have meds for him, but we built this little ottoman again for extra storage. So it's on wheels, and we can wheel it out and have extra seat for someone to sit, but it also lifts up and has his food, medication, toys, dog bags, all that kind of extra stuff. And I was really proud I did this all on my own without Mike's help. Like, it was just my idea. He was gone for a long weekend. People have sat on it, and it's held up. So, and then also we built custom, Mike did this, a really nice custom bed for Phineas. One of the things we did, we really wanted in our build was a skylight. So we have the skylight right here, which we love. It brings in a lot of natural light, and rainstorms is another way to have it open, and it's just like really fun to watch the rain pound down. We do have like a shade If we have direct sun on it during the day, we like to keep it closed. And then it's pretty easy, it just slides open. We didn't really want a normal size TV in here. So we have a 6-foot screen here, and we use this projector to nebula. So this is how we watch TV. So we also have a diesel heater tucked right under here. We built an extension off of our wheel well. We also have a fireball in there. We have one above our stove too, and we have one in the back. This is like our all-purpose table here. We use it for meals, but we also use it for work. So we rotate who works. We have a workspace back in the back, but this is also duals as a workspace for us during the day. So we bought the Lagoon, which we absolutely love. Mike built this like oval table to go on top of it. What we love about this is that we bought 2 of the pieces that attach to the side to hook it on. And we have one that's over here too. If we have some people over and like this area we use for a gathering, then we can switch the table over there and just have extra space. We've had people playing games and sitting here and over there, and it works awesome.
We got into Buslife kind of in a roundabout way. I think for me, I've always been interested in alternative housing and alternative ways of living. So it kind of started out with like tiny houses on a trailer, and then it turned into shipping containers and earth ships and a lot of different options. And when Mandi and I started dating, it was kind of one of the things that came up often for me in conversation. And so she had kind of said, hey, I'm down for that. And so we started talking about, okay, how would this work? And so we started looking at buses, and we had set out this specific kind of bus, and we said, hey, if we find this bus, we're going to go for it. But we couldn't find any. So we were actually just about to buy a different bus, and that fell through. And then the very next day, this one came on the market, and we jumped on it. And so that's kind of how the journey got started.
He would bring up all this like bus life and wanting to live on a sailboat, and I would shut down it initially because I was a teacher at brick and mortar, and I was like, how can I support myself on the road? And then when COVID hit, we went remote, and it kind of just, my mind just opened up to this whole new world, and we finally just started talking about it. So it was always something I would love to do, but I just didn't know how I could make it happen. And so once we figured that out, it was a go, and we just kind of jumped right in and went for it.
So this is the driver's area / other half of the living room. So when we're not driving anywhere, we turn these around so these seats can be part of the living room. These aren't the seats that came with the bus. We actually got these from a salvage yard because the bus seats that were in here were really uncomfortable, and we put them on swivels so they both can spin around. They can face the front when we're driving, or we can turn around and have them in living room mode when we're parked. The other alternative that we can do is we have a desk that fits right on the steering wheel here. So we put in a backup camera. When you're driving something this big, you absolutely need to see out the back and out the side. So we've got a 4-camera system. 2 of the cameras are in the back. One of them points out, so it's like a rear view mirror, and one of them points straight down at the ground. So when we're flat towing our Jeep, I can always see the connection, make sure the wires are still connected, make sure nothing's bouncing around or loose. And when I first got the bus, it was a very nervous drive across the country from LA to Michigan. But now it's like driving a car. I love it. You got to get used to turning, like really wide turns, turning right especially. Yeah, I really love driving it. It's easy to drive. And these curtains here, Mandi mentioned the curtains, also made by family, like hand sewn. They're crucial for when we're parked because there's a ton of heat that comes in here, and we lose a lot of heat when it's cold out through these. So they block all the light, they keep it more private in here when we want to be private, and they keep the temperature in here really good. So this is the hallway. This is kind of like the alleyway to get from the kitchen back into either the bathroom or into the bedroom. And so one of the things here is that our emergency door is right here. So we still have the emergency door. We can open it if the weather's nice or the breeze is coming through there. So we like that feature. We were slightly concerned about being able to lock it. So we got a lock that passes through the outside. So from the outside, you can lock or unlock it with the key. And from the inside, we can just unlock it with that latch. And then we put some lights in here. But yeah, then now we go into the bathroom. This is like huge as far as Skoolie bathrooms go. And it was important to us to have a lot of space in the bathroom. I love showers, and I wanted to be able to take a stand-up shower, be able to have room to get out and dry off without kind of having to bend over or move around stuff. So we kind of made sure that we prioritized space in the bathroom. We get a lot of comments on the size of the tub. I don't know how many gallons are in it, but it's about 4 feet long by 2 feet wide. So it's a fair amount of space. We wanted to have a skylight. That was a big thing for Mandi, to be able to kind of have the sun shining in when you're taking a shower. It kind of feels like you're outside. We have the Nebia shower head, which is really nice because it's good on water. We don't use the wand very much just because it gets kind of difficult to maneuver around in there with. So the sink is a relatively small sink, but we wanted to, like I said, maximize the space when we get out of the shower. So little sink, it's really all we need. It works fine. All the wallpaper, all the tile, and all the cabinetry, Mandi did all these by herself, so she did a really good job with it. From a storage perspective, we have a ton of storage in here, which is also really nice. So Mandi built these cabinets to kind of have everything up here. We've got extra bits and bobs in here, so like first aid kit. We actually have an outdoor shower too, so the outdoor shower kit stays in there. Coconut core, for those of you who have a composting toilet, you understand what that's all about, so we keep that in there so it's close at hand. And this is our composting toilet. So another custom job by Mandi, actually. She did a really good job with the toilet. And so we've got a diverter for the liquids and solids, and the liquids go into the gray tank and we handle them that way. And then we just have a bag, a receptacle that holds all the solids that we empty those out every couple weeks whenever we need to. And then one of the things about a composting toilet is that the toilet paper doesn't go in with the solids. You have to keep it out of there from a space perspective, but also just from a cleanliness and smell perspective. So we got this diaper genie receptacle, so we put everything in there. And then for our door, we used some heavy duty drawer slides that are locking. So this stays shut, and then when you extend it all the way, it locks in the open position. And yeah, and that's about it. All right, so at the end of the aisle is the bedroom slash the workstation. I really like being able to sit down and work and then stand up kind of halfway through the day, or kind of change things up a little bit. I've seen French cleats in like garages and storage areas, but never really seen it in a bus. And so all of this stuff is all modular, and so you can just take it off. Anything can come off and you can move it anywhere else. So halfway throughout the day, if I want to stand up, I can just kind of move everything around. And also that's important because this is where all of our electrical components go. So if there's a fuse that blows, or I need to check something out, or maybe run a new wire through the ceiling, I have to go into that cabinet. So it's important that all this stuff can disconnect. This is our modem. So we run a 5G antenna on the roof, and then this runs down into a PepWave router that runs off of 2 SIM cards. And then we also have a Starlink set up as well. So, and it's important for us because we're both working full time. We're both online a lot, in Zoom meetings and calls a lot. So having bulletproof internet is really important, and so that enables that for us. There are a couple changes that we want to do to the office space. One of the things is when we need to get in there, it's kind of a production to get everything down and moved around. So I want to make it a little bit more modular, put some hinges in here so this can fold up easily and we can get stuff out of the way. So now I'm going to take this all apart and then show you how we get into the electrical closet. All right, so this is our electrical system. So on the roof, we've got 1,600 watts of solar. We have roughly around 9.8 or 10 kilowatt hours of batteries. These are lithium iron phosphate batteries. The battery bank is a nominal voltage of 24 volts. So we've got 4 batteries in total. So there's 2 in series, and then those 2 are wired in parallel. So starting from the top, the 1,600 watts of solar comes down into this solar controller switch. This is a shutoff for all of the panels, so if I shut those off, no power comes in from the solar panels. Those are wired directly into our Victron Smart Solar Charge Controller. Those come down into our bus bar, and then that bus bar feeds basically everything from the batteries. It's either sending stuff in and out of the batteries, or sending them up to the inverter. So this is our Victron Energy Multiplus, 24 volt, 300 watt inverter charger. So that takes the DC power from the batteries, or possibly from the shore power plug, and then converts that into AC power that feeds the AC panel side of our system. And so the inverter charger is able to upcharge from the batteries off of our 30 amp shore power. So we can be plugged into a 30 amp plug, which is prevalent everywhere. All RV parks have 30 amp plugins usually. And then it's able to basically boost the power up to a 50 amp service. So that's important when we're plugged in and we run around the air conditioner, the refrigerator's going, and we want to run some other AC appliance in the kitchen. That comes in handy. I mentioned that our battery bank is a 24 volt system, but a lot of our DC appliances are actually 12 volt appliances. So we have to have this Orion converter that converts from 24 volts down to 12 volts, steps it down so that all of our 12 volt appliances can run off of that. The other thing in here in the bottom down underneath the AC panel is our Servo GX controller. So that's the brains of the system. So that allows us to check from our phones. So anywhere in the world, we can be seeing like how our solar panels are doing, what the state of charge is on the batteries. If there's ever an error, we can see it and clear it from our phones, as well as this screen that's on the front of this door. So
welcome to the bedroom where the magic happens, as they say. Our bed is a queen bed. It's just the one we had back home when we were living in our 2-story home. We made it so that we had storage underneath. So we have gaskets on here, and it lifts up pretty good. And we have stuff that we can get in here easily because it's easy to open. It stays open. So we have like extra sheets and blankets, some games down here. And then we also have another diesel heater under here. But yeah, it's super simple, easy, and awesome for storage. My favorite part of the bedroom is our headboard. We just got that cane webbing in the back, but I just love the pop of color it gives. So our bed is half on the engine back here. So we just put extra cushion back here, and it's nice for like a reading nook. We've actually had Mike's nephew sleep there. He's 10 years old, and it was a perfect fit for him, so it's extra sleeping if we needed. We have a little bookcase back there in the corner. You can't really see, but that stores some of our books. We also have our mini split back there. It runs off AC. We like to travel in what we call the butter zone, so not too hot, not too cold. So we haven't had to use it a ton, but it's really convenient when we need to. So these are all custom built cabinets. Mike did a really nice job with these. So they just hold our clothes, and then, oh my gosh, show you this, but this would be like everyone has a junk drawer. We have a junk cabinet here. It's like extra computer stuff, some extra clothes. It's kind of a catch-all. And we have some extra shoe storage up here. And of course, like our hanging stuff up here. This is where Phineas's bed is. At night, this is his spot. It's got 2 of his beds on here. And we love that he's back here with us when we are, and he's up front with us when we are. So we love to have him around us as much as possible.
When we bought the bus, we knew that it was kind of a unique bus, and these aren't as easy to get, so we kind of knew that it would be a little bit more expensive. The bus that we bought actually cost us $12,000. So the build cost is not exact numbers known. I have a wooden box full of all the receipts that I'm kind of afraid to open and look through. But it's going to happen one day. But my best guess on roughly what we spent is somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 on the build. So total of about $55,000 or $60,000. So from like month to month costs, it kind of depends on how we're planning to travel. What we found after getting on the road is just with the cost of diesel, especially during that time being so high, as well as the fuel efficiency of this bus being about as low as you can get. It gets about 5.5 or 6 miles per gallon. That we weren't going to be able to drive as much as we initially thought we would, which is fine because it gives us the opportunity to kind of slow down, and that was the whole intention of living this way. So, you know, we have a 100-gallon tank, and it's quite expensive, so we try and make it so that we only have to fill up every 2 weeks. So whether that means a couple of little trips all throughout those 2 weeks at short distances, or like one big week in 2 weeks and then we stay there for 2 or 3 weeks, that's kind of how we try and do it. So that's one of the major costs for us. The other one is internet. Being that we both work remote, Mandy's a health coach and an online teacher, and I work in the business world. We need good internet, so we have a couple different plans. One is from an AT&T reseller, one directly from Verizon, and then we have Starlink. So we spend roughly at this point about $350 per month on internet. We are kind of planning to trim that down because we found with as good as Starlink works, we can really get rid of one of those SIM cards. So we're planning to probably spend about $200 to $250 a month max on internet. So yeah, this is the kind of the hangout area, I'll say the front yard of the bus, if there was such a thing. The door, starting off the door is a custom door. We did keep the existing doors, but we kind of ran into some problems with the design we wanted to do, so we ended up with this kind of Frankenstein door. I like that, you know, it's wide open. You can see out it when we're driving very easily, even down to the floor, so I can see a curb if I'm trying to turn. The lock is something that we kind of like. It's got fingerprints on it. It has a bunch of different passcodes on it, and then it actually has a key, which we never use, but if the battery's dead, you can open it with the key. So we have this kind of big hangout area. We wanted to get a big rug so that we could have social hour and have people come and hang out, and there was a lot of space. That being said, we wanted to make sure we had a big area to entertain if we're gonna have a barbecue or hang out. So we needed this kind of outdoor table. Our Bus Olive, thanks so much for the design. But it's really simple, it just kind of folds up. We used some gate latches here, so it just folds like that. And then we keep these carabiners just to make sure that these stay shut. Then we can take this down pretty easily, and it gives us a ton of space for setting stuff out here if we're having like a potluck or something like that, which is known to happen in the nomadic community. So this is our dog Phineas. Mandi mentioned him earlier. He's a 13-year-old family member of ours, so he's a good old boy. We saw this on a couple of the buses and we really wanted to make sure that we could use it. So this is a gas grill. It's easy to take off and put on, so you can just kind of lift it up and take it off, and we can stow it when we're driving, and then it just pops back on. And it's a propane grill, so it connects to our propane system, and then I have a flexible propane line underneath it that just plugs into here. So under the table we have our gray water system. So on the driver's side, we've got our fresh water supply. We've got a 125-gallon tank over there. That can last us anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. So this is the access panel to the gray water dump underneath there, and then right in front of that is the exhaust port for our diesel heater. So next to the grill, we've got our hot water heater. So this is just a propane-fired on-demand hot water heater. Right here is the exhaust port for the composting toilet, and right next to it is our shore power plug. So this is that 30-amp shore power inlet that we talked about earlier. And then underneath here is our underbody storage. So both of these compartments pass all the way through to the other side. So we have a huge amount of space for tools, gym equipment, all that other stuff in there. So we love having extra storage, and there's always a bunch of extra crap in there. So here at the back of the bus, a couple things to point out. So we've got a deck up on top. It's roughly about 8 feet wide by 12 feet long. So that's just for when we have friends over for hanging out, watching the stars, concerts sometimes. And that on top of the deck is also where our mini split external unit is. And then this ladder, this is a custom built ladder, is my first exposure to welding. So it doesn't look very pretty, but it's safe and it holds a human being and sometimes two as they walk up there. So that's how we get up to the deck. So at the front of the bus here, a couple things to call out. We've got Erwin's name tag up here, that up at the front, so everybody knows his name. And then we've got these curtains. So these are the curtains from the inside that kind of block out the sun and also keep us well insulated. But we were kind of thinking that it would be fun to have something on the front that isn't just a gray curtain. So I had actually seen these on a different bus somewhere and sent the picture to my mom and Mandy's mom, who were making the curtains, and then they sewed these for us. So it's just some felt circles on there, but we get a lot of comments and people seem to like Erwin's eyeballs. All right, thanks for following along with us on the tour.
And if you want to keep following along, check us out on social media at The Going Home. And I also have a health and wellness coaching business I'd love for you to check out at Mandi de Groot.